After rallying hard into Friday's close, it was the Russell today that has given up those gains. I'll break it all down, but before that, there is the closing bell, guys, with the S&Ps down about 3 points. Today, we see heavy selling coming out of the Russell 2000 as it's down 2.8%. We see the Nasdaq that's about in line with the S&Ps. However, it is the Dow today that is up 100 points and our only index in the green. So starting with the SPX, we take a look at today's tape. It's down 3 points, coming in expecting 64 points with just 4 trading sessions this week. 4,037 played upper resistance and 3,911 played lower support. When we take a look at the futures, looking at these S&P futures, we can see today volume is about the same as Friday's tape with a range of about 42 points. Intraday, we take a look. We put lows in at around 11 and we trended higher as the day progressed. However, we are seeing some selling in the final minutes of trade. When we take a look at the Nasdaq, it's about in the same boat as our S&Ps. On the bigger picture here, the Nasdaq for the most part is just bundling up here, waiting for a reason to break out. Flat on the day, it's in line today with the S&P 500s. When we throw it on the expected move this week, the options market priced in 13,260 as our upper resistance and 12,657 as lower support. The Nasdaq is just flirting with the midline on the week at around 12,960. As for the Russell 2000, we take a look at its barriers on the week. It's already breaching the lower edge on just Monday's session. That level is 2,159. We are 4 points below that level, and we should be very worried about tomorrow's session. Normally, this one standard deviation should play some strong support for a bounce. However, let's take a look at some of our sectors and see where the selling is coming out of. And taking a look at our sectors, consumer staples led the way up over 1% today and putting in an all-time high. You can just see the past 3 trading sessions, consumer staples is just erupting. What's right behind it? Well, the big 5 today is up about 80 basis points and finishing right behind these consumer staples. The big 5 consist of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Facebook, and we're seeing rotation come into these safe haven names. As when we compare that to the XLK, the technology sector, it's down 0.5%. So growth names are taking a hit as money flocks into trades that have worked over the years in those big 5 names. We also have today healthcare that's up about 0.5%, starting to break up with those consumer staples. It was the industrials that was flat on the day. On the downside, we take a look at the software stocks, down over 2%, was a big catalyst in bringing down the Russell today. We also have the XLE energy sector down 1.2% on the day, off relatively light volume here. It was our financials that are down about 87 basis points on an intraday, however. It put in a bottom and trended higher. However, we are seeing some selling into that close. Financials will be a key component in tomorrow's tape. And just taking a look at the big board, you see Apple, Amazon, Google, and Facebook leading the way today out of the big 5. However, Microsoft in the red. We see consumer staples carrying their weight, as well as the industrials. Even healthcare is in the green, which is helping our S&Ps. However, it was those big banks today that put a lot of stress on this marketplace, as well as some growth names that have been doing so well. So just taking a look across the board, you see consumer staples leading the way. As consumers start to travel more, it's giving them more confidence through vaccines with the healthcare up. Traders are seeing the fall out of growth names in the XLK and the software stocks as they rotate into the big 5 names. This economy is slowly opening up and we're starting to see money rotate. If the big 5 can get going, I think that's enough to carry the weight and drag our indexes higher. So for the most part, our indices were mixed. We saw the small caps deep in the red and the S&P and the Nasdaq about flat in the day. It was the Dow that was the only index in the green. What's going on in the bond market? Taking a look today at the bonds, they are down about 60 basis points. So we're seeing 3 consecutive sessions in a row with the bonds rolling. What does that mean for the yield? Taking a look at the 10-year yield, it's up 3.67%, breaking that 1.7% level and knocking at the doors to all-time highs. The yield today definitely pricked some of these growth names, seeing software down over 2% and the XLK in the red. Traders flocked into those big 5 names. However, when we take a look at the volatility index, seeing the futures today up 3%, when we look at it on an intraday, you can just see it's recovering from that beatdown on the Friday's tape, sitting about right where it was before it really took a fall. As for our VVIX, we take a look at the VVIX. Trading near the session lows, it had a pop out the gates, however quickly retreated from 110, sitting at a 106 right now. Seeing this close relatively weak in the final minutes of trade could give some confidence to investors and maybe a more greener tomorrow. So with bond yields rising, what's going on in the dollar index? And taking a look at the dollar, up 18 basis points today with the yields on the rise. The dollar is slowly strengthening. As for our commodities, we take a look at crude oil. Crude oil today is up a little over 1%, sitting at a 61.60 level. You can see it's trying to put in a floor from the high 50s, low 60s. As crude oil consolidates, it's going to look to march higher. As for gold, we take a look at these gold futures, down 1.3%, really puking in today's tape. We can see it's down over $22, sitting at $17.11 as gold retreats as the dollar strengthens. As for Bitcoin, today Bitcoin up a little over 7% in these futures. I said on Friday, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin at 57K, sitting at 58K right now on these futures. We just look how it traded through the night, got a nice trend up, and just kind of consolidated since. We take it a little bit closer on my charts. I want to zoom in on a 4-hour here. This is Coinbase, and I just want to point out, there was that crossover I mentioned on Friday on the 29th. I also see another crossover here, and that's around the 1st. Now, looking at a closer view on this chart, I don't see it's by any Fibonacci's, which is 59.4, or no pitchfork, so it's kind of in no man's land on this chart. However, when you look at the Binance chart, it's flirting right with the pivotal Fibonacci at 2.61, 57.8, call it. I wouldn't be surprised to flirt this about 1,500 to 1,000 points, possibly to April 1st. That would be really good if we can consolidate here. However, if we do tumble, on my Bitstamp chart, we do have a pitchfork. You can just see it right there. And those levels increase as you see it sloping up as days progress. It's around 56.5, 56.7 level, which would be very beneficial if we can hold that level as we're up 1,500 points today. We're giving some of those gains back. However, it's Bitcoin. It can quickly snap on a dime, and we could be seeing 60K in the latter part of this week. There you have it for the stock market breakdown. Today we had a Fed member, Waller, speak at around 11 o'clock. That was the time this market put in a bottom. However, that wasn't the case for the small caps. In tomorrow's tape, we'll have a few more Fed members speak as well. Maybe that can get things going on tomorrow's tape. However, with the Nasdaq flat, we saw traders rotate into those safe haven names. As today, Apple, Google, Facebook, and Amazon were in the green. They helped carry the tech names as the XLK and growth name stocks took a little hit. With the VVIX trading near session lows, it could give some investors some optimism going into tomorrow's tape. Remember guys, there's only 3 more trading sessions in this week. If you watched this far, guys, I really appreciate it. If the thumbs up, it means a lot when you guys show some support. If you're watching me for the first time, I do these breakdowns every single day. Show some love and hit that subscribe button. It will really mean a lot to me if you guys can do that. Any comments or questions, leave it down below and I'll get back to you. But on that note, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Have a great night. Take care.